Hello, welcome to Machine Elements. This is the third of a string of mechanical courses. You did mechanical drafting, then mechanical design probably, and now this is the third one, Machine Elements, where we're going to learn about various components that transmit power or transmit motion, and we'll also learn about ways to fasten things and some plastic molding and fasteners, and as you can see, components that go into making up machines. So let's look at the class here. First, let's look at the syllabus very briefly. I know you're pretty familiar with these now. I just want to point out a couple of things. One, feel free to email me anytime, including to ask for help over Zoom. You'll be doing some drawings this term. Some of them you might or might not find challenging. So if you need help, just let me know and we'll look at them together. Then the other thing to mention is the text. As with all my classes, the text is not actually required at all. And this is the same book that you've used in a number of your other classes. You saw this book listed for mechanical drafting and mechanical design, and it's also listed for hydraulics and electrical, so it's the same book. But you don't need to buy it unless you want to. Then let's look at the syllabus schedule. So it looks like this, and there are drawings, which I've listed under the assignments here, and there are a bunch of short quizzes, which I've listed under the assignments here. I've front-loaded the first half of the term with drawings. So these drawings tend to be challenging, but you get through the first half of the term and you're basically done. There's one stray here. You did a table assembly drawing. In week 8, then you'll do a revision to the table. So I really encourage you to keep up. Don't get behind. Let yourself stay up, especially in the drawings half of the term. You really want to keep that moving forward, and let me know if you need help. When you look at the topics here, you'll see the first 3 or 4 weeks are about transmitting power transmission. So gears, belts, chains, and then prime movers. So here are electric motors. We use those to drive the gears, belts, chains. We will not talk about diesel engines, but that's another type of prime mover. Then we'll also look at guards, because that's required by law when you have things that move like this. Alrighty. Then we'll pause and we'll look at welding. We're going to learn how to draw weld symbols on your drawing. There's a whole bunch of different kinds of welds, as you probably know, different shapes of joints, and you're going to learn the correct way to put symbols on your drawings. Then we'll come back to things that move, and we will look at linkages, 4-bar linkages, think windshield wipers or something like that, and we'll look at cams. And so those things, linkages and cams, do not transmit power, but they do transmit motion. And so do pulleys. We'll look at those real briefly. Then back to fastening. Now we'll talk about threaded fasteners, bolts and screws and so forth, and how to figure out hole spacing and edge distance and wrench clearance and that sort of thing. Then the last 2 weeks of the term, we'll look at some materials. We'll look at metal, and we'll look at plastic. And then finally, because we're talking about things that move, we'll look at different kinds of bearings and seals, and real briefly lubricants that you might use. So it's a full term, as you can see. I've built in a few work days just to give you extra breathing room. Okay, what else? Then, so I'm back in the Moodle class now. Here under General Course Information, in addition to the syllabus and syllabus schedule, here are 3 other things for your use. One is a part number list. So we are going to pretend that this is our company, and in our company, like all companies, we have a numbering system. Every company's numbering system is different. This one is ours. So here's a spreadsheet with our company's part number system. And you'll look those numbers up and put them on your bills of material for your drawings. Then here is the Far West Steel catalog. Yay! It's a PDF, and so you can download that and take it with you. And that gives the standard sizes and weights of all the steel products that Far West sells. You can buy the same steel from other places like Coyote Steel and Ryerson and other places. Far West is probably the most popular vendor for local manufacturing companies. And then here is the AutoCAD title block that you should use for all your drawings this term. Right? Then you're familiar with the forums or fora by now probably. Here's the very first one, the introduction forum. As with our other classes, that's your very first assignment, and you have to do that by Sunday of at the end of the first week. That's instead of taking attendance. Then there are a bunch of quizzes, as you saw on the schedule, and you can do those multiple times. So if you don't get the answers right, you can come back and take another try at it. And let me know if you are having trouble figuring out which question you missed, if you missed one, and I'll look it up for you. You're welcome to work ahead as much as you want to. There are no due dates. Stuff is just due. Everything's due by the end of the term. Oh, yes, and the drawings, one reason for getting the drawings done as soon as you can, besides then they'll be done, is that as soon as you do the drawings, I will make comments for you and send them back to you, and then you can revise whatever needs revising. If you wait until the very end of the term, of course, we won't have time to do that. So I recommend doing them soon. The last thing I want to remind you is that you have access to the Google Shared Drive, where we have all of our drafting courses. And here are the drafting courses. Here's the folder for this class. And here are the syllabus and schedule and the part numbers. And then I think I've put the Far West Steel thingy in I think I put it in the lectures folder. The title block for the class is in the assignments folder down at the bottom. So if you don't have access to Moodle suddenly, or the term is ended and you want to go download this stuff, you have access to all of this and you can download all of it. And I recommend doing that because there's a lot of good reference material in here. All righty. Well, I think that about sums it up. Let's stay in touch, and I hope you have a good term.